Hi, welcome back. I had to go into my office because my camera battery died and I was right in the middle of the video, so I thought I'd come back in here, plug it in, and just restart it. This is a tag video that I actually saw last night, and Juicy Tuesday, who is Teresa, who decided to make up this tag, did it, and I was just so impressed by her answers and her honesty. I wanted to do this, and I will tag some people and put it down below, and if you can do the same, that would be great. So take a look at the down bar after you're done, and if you are picked, please do it if you'd like. And if you do not do videos, just give a response down below in the comment section if you can. It's a rather long question. If you want, you can just actually, I'll pick people that do videos, and for those of you that don't, if you want to just send me the answers in a private message, that would be great too. Okay, so let's get started. This is a tag that is 25 things that you probably don't know about me, and so I'm going to get started right now. The first one is, number one is, I cannot drink or eat anything that is blue, meaning the blue tropical drinks or Kool-Aids, things like that. They just gross me out. Flat out gross me out. I can eat natural things like blueberries. I love them, but blueberries are not blue. They are like a dark purple color. Blackberries are like a dark purple color. They're not blue. I just can't drink or eat the artificial blue stuff. It just grosses me out. Okay, the next one is, I am afraid of heights, but I love flying in airplanes. I know that doesn't make sense, but I don't get scared when I fly. Taking off is a little bit of exciting, maybe borderline scared, but I'm not deathly afraid. Where heights are horrible. I cannot do roller coasters. I can't go on, the top of skyscrapers. Can't do things like that. I get very nervous. My heart races, and it's just not for me. Okay, number 3. I never wanted to be a tall person. I'm very happy with the height that I am. I'm 5'3.5". I think tall people are beautiful. They have a certain elegance about them. But for me, I just am a person that I prefer being shorter. Even though I'm not very short, I'm sort of like in between there. Borderline short. I like my height. That's it. Okay, number 4, I used to dream of broken staircases. I would have nightmares where there were staircases and then there was a door, but the door was like 3 feet away and I couldn't get to the door. And then when I met my husband, and before he even became my husband and I fell in love with him, those dreams stopped. So I don't know what that means to have those dreams, but I'm really grateful that they did stop, and more grateful that he came into my life. Okay, number 4. Oh, I did number 4. Number 5. When I was a young girl, I wanted to be a Broadway or stage actress. I admire actors, actresses so much. I think that it is such a hard job. I know that they make a lot of money, and sometimes people think that they're not worth what they make, and maybe they're not worth millions and millions, who knows, but I just think it's a job that is so intriguing because you take yourself and you become another person in the character that you're playing. And when somebody is a good actor, I am so intrigued by them. I don't think that I could ever actually do it myself. Maybe now as an adult I could try, because not Broadway, but like regular theater, community theater or something. But as a child I was very shy. I couldn't even tell my parents that I wanted to do that. I was that shy. Okay, the next one is, my favorite color used to be red. And when I'm saying favorite, I mean, I was obsessed. Everything I bought was red. Red slacks, red purses, red shoes, red hats, red scarves. This was back when I lived in Chicago, so I had red. The only thing I didn't have was a red wool coat for the winter. I don't know why, but I always bought black or gray. but everything else was red, red, red. Now, I still like the color. If you look at my closet, there's a few pieces that are red, but it's not like it was then. I was obsessed with it. Okay, the next one is, in order to sleep, I have to have my feet covered. I cannot even take a nap unless my feet are covered. I prefer to have my whole body covered, even if it's just a sheet, but I can't just go and lay in bed or lay on a couch and fall asleep without my feet being covered. It is a total phobia. I don't know if I feel like somebody's going to grab my feet. How a cover protects it, I don't know, but that's how I feel. Okay, the next one is, I once wrote a fan letter to John Stamos, the American actor, and he does the Oiko Greek yogurt commercials, and to this day when I see him, he's gotten older and stuff, but I'm reminded of when I liked him so much. In the early 80s, he was a character on General Hospital, a soap opera, and his name was Blackie on the show, and I just was in love with him, and I wrote a fan letter, and I got back this cheesy postcard, and I slept with it for weeks and weeks, and it was so funny because it was the time that I was in between high school and like the first year of college, so I was really way beyond that sleeping with a postcard stage, but I did it, and I just loved him. Now, if you ask me today where that postcard is, I have no idea. The few times that I've moved, it got lost, maybe, I don't know, somebody threw it out, whatever. It's just funny how I slept with that postcard. Okay, the next one is, it's very hard for me to trust someone after they lied to me. I am a forgiving person, and I will forgive you, but that trust, that deep down trust, it's very hard for me after a person lies to me. I don't like lying. I would prefer that someone told me the truth in a nice way, not rude, not, ignorant or bullyish, but just told me the truth nicely, then lied to me. I don't like it. It makes me feel horrible. Okay, the next thing is number 11, and it is, I usually root for the underdog. Absolutely. In any given situation, if I'm watching a movie, a game show, whatever, the person that maybe society or whoever thinks is not going to make it, I am rooting for that person. Just recently, I watched Big Brother here in the States, and I was rooting for Ian, who won from the very beginning. I saw him as an underdog. I saw him different because he wasn't the model looking, the cool kid, but he had something that I knew he would make it. I wasn't sure he was going to make it all the way to the end like he did, but I knew he would make it pretty far, and I was rooting for him every single time I watched the show, which was every show. Okay, the next question is, actually I switched this, but it doesn't matter. I have never lived alone, meaning that I've never had my own apartment. I didn't live in a dorm. I always lived with my parents, and then from my parents' house, I moved in with my first husband, and yeah, that face, and then after I was divorced, I moved back with my parents. That was a very hard time in my life. My parents were there for me. They were my comfort. At that time, they were my everything. They made it easy for me, yet, I was always responsible. I worked. I took care of my bills. I had my car. I had my insurance, but I lived with them. And then I met Rob, and we moved in together before we got married for about a year. My parents were very old-fashioned. They didn't like it too much, but they knew that Rob and I were going to get married, and I was a little bit older, and they had to just understand. I had never thought I would live with a man before I got married, but my first marriage and the way I was treated changed that so much. And even though I trusted Rob from the very beginning, and he was always different than any man I ever had dated or even known, I just, I wanted to be with him. So if I want to be with him, I gotta live with you, So anyway, long story. The next question is, I fractured my sternum in a car accident right here in the late 90s. I was going to work, and I was following too close a girl, which was my fault, but she slammed on the brakes for no reason, and it was too late for me, and I rear-ended her. That's what you call it. And she had one of those trailer hitches, and the car even bounced more. And I had my seatbelt on, but I still hit the steering wheel, and it really fractured pretty bad. I almost had to have surgery to repair it, and that's a very major surgery where they break open the ribs, and I won't get into it in case you're squeamish, but I didn't have to have the surgery, but it took a long time to heal, and I still have times when it rains and when my arthritis that I have everywhere else acts up, I will get pain there from the scar tissue. So that was not such a nice story. Number 12. I have never wished that I was another person. I've never been one of those people that has said or thought, oh, I wish I was this person because I have a better life. Even in times when life has not really been the best for me, I have wanted to be myself. Even when I was a child and I would play house, I was me, but I was a grown-up. That's just me. Okay, the next question is really, or statement is really cute. The first movie that I ever saw was when I was 3 years old, and my dad took me to see 101 Dalmatians. And yes, I was 3 years old in 1967, for all you youngins out there. It had come out to the movie theaters for the first time. My dad took me to the movie theater, and for those of you that know Chicago or live there, excuse me, at the time it was at a big movie theater called the Will Rogers in an area that is Belmont and Central. The area is still there, of course, but the theater has long been knocked down, and I know stores or condos are there, but it's a wonderful memory. Anytime I see a Dalmatian, a stuffed Dalmatian, I get very sentimental, and I think of my dad. I have a couple ornaments on my Christmas tree when Disney re-released the film some years ago, and everyone knew that I really have this special memory, so I got a lot of gifts that year of Dalmatians. I have a sweatshirt of the 101 Dalmatians. I love it. And it's not necessarily the little puppies I love. I just love the memory that I was with my dad, and it was my first experience in a movie theater. Okay, the next one is, and I was 3. I love crayons. I'm 47 years old, and I love crayons. I love drawing with crayons, coloring with crayons. If somebody wanted to give me a gift and they gave me a big box of crayons with the sharpener there, I'd love you forever. I love crayons. They're just a simple thing. They remind me of being a kid. I always loved to draw, and I just love them. I have a little pack in this little, like, drawers of craft stuff. I don't have the big pack anymore. I don't know why, because I love them so much, but I love crayons. The next one is, one of my best memories as a child was in my grandmother's backyard. My dad's mother always had a beautiful garden with vegetables and flowers and plants, and I remember she used to plant marigolds, and she would tell us that the marigolds keep away the bees or the mosquitoes. I don't remember. I'm not a gardener. I live in a condo complex. I don't have a garden, but I love gardens. I love to look at them. I admire people that can grow beautiful things like flowers, plants, vegetables. I have quite a few members of my family that kind of continued that tradition. I think they learned through her or her example, and gardens are just beautiful. I think in my mind, heaven is my grandma's garden. I know that's pretty deep and maybe a little silly, but it is. I do. Okay, I don't like watching sporting events on TV. I think they're boring. I'm sorry. I know that there's so many people out there that love it, and more power to you. Go team. But it bores me. But if you ask me to go to a game at a stadium, I will go. I love going to games. I don't understand football, but yet I went to USC, University of South Carolina, which is my husband's alma mater, and I had the best time. They played in one of the bowl games here in Florida last year, early this year, I should say, and I had the best time. I love being in the stadium, all the action, and probably the food too, and I don't know, I love that, but watching on TV is so boring to me. Okay, next little statement or fact. I love Mickey Rooney. I just love him. He is so cute. I love all his old black and white movies. I can watch them over and over again. When I was about 12, I went to a play with my parents in Chicago, and he was one of the stars, and it was so exciting to be so close because it was a theater in a round, which means that there's a round theater and then there's seats all around. So the actors come out on the sides and they're not like behind a stage, so you really get to see them, and it was so exciting, and I just love him. And I know that he's older, and sometimes I think, even though it's a morbid thought, when he does pass away, it's going to be really hard for me because even though I've never met him, I don't know him, and I'm not a stalker or anything, I just love him. I just love him. Okay, the next statement or thing is I had my first cavity when I was 45 years old. Yes, that's true. I never had a cavity as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. I had my cavity at 45, and I really don't think it's because of poor dental care or eating too much sweets. It's because of my Sjogren's syndrome that reduces the saliva and that tends to bring cavities. And you know, I almost made it to older age with no cavities, but I got 2 cavities actually when I was 45, and I was really upset. Okay, the next one is number 20. We're almost done. And it's I have funny eating habits, meaning that I cannot put a lot on my plate or else I can't eat it. It just kind of makes me nauseous. I cannot mix things together like mashed potatoes, and if there's a red sauce or something red, I cannot have that close or mix because I won't eat it. It's strange, I know, but that's me, and I guess I'm crazy that way. Number 21. Halloween is a very hard day for me. I don't know if I've ever spoken about this before. I might have. But, so then you might have known this fact. But more than Mother's Day, more than Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving, Halloween is very hard for me because it reminds me that I have never been a mother. I don't have any children. And I love seeing the kids all dressed up, and it really makes me feel left out. Yeah, I'm going to stop there because I get emotional, but really Halloween is really hard. And you might say, well, why isn't Mother's Day? But I'm a godmother, and my oldest godchild is my niece, and my only niece, and I don't have any nephews. So she's just like, you know, everything. And I always get cards from her, phone calls. I get cards from my youngest godchildren that are twins, and they're 3 years old. You know, so I get that love, and they make me feel like I'm important that day. And really it's not about being important, but it just, I feel left out on Halloween because I don't have a child to dress up and, I don't know, do all those fun things that my mom did with my brother and I. Okay, the next one is number 22. It bothers me that I am allergic to gardenia. I know that's strange, but the reason it bothers me is that gardenia is my mother's absolute favorite flower. And I feel bad because when my mother doesn't like flowers except gardenias, but now because of my allergy, when I'm around, she can't have a gardenia out. She can't wear like a gardenia fragrance. And it just bothers me because I love my mother so much, and I feel like angry, like, why does it have to be my mother's favorite flower? Why can't it be a rose? And I know somebody watching this might think it's so silly, but it's true. It bothers me that I can't have gardenias around me. I mean, I don't have severe where I stop breathing, but I get really massive migraines, and that's horrible. Okay, 23. The ocean side or beach is a very spiritual place for me, especially at sunset. To me, it's a very godly place. I feel very good when I get to go to the beach and or even get to see it. And I live near a lot of beaches since I live basically on a peninsula. I do live on a peninsula. We're surrounded with water. There's beaches everywhere. There's ocean all the time. So I do get to see the ocean a lot, and it's just such a peaceful, spiritual place for me. I absolutely love it. And not that I want to like be buried at sea or anything like that. I know it's gross to bring up, but I just love it, looking at it. I like being in it too, and it's just beautiful. Okay. Number 24. We're almost done, kids. I do not like mean people or bullies. It really bothers me when somebody is a bully. I remember as a child being very shy, and when someone was being bullied, that was the only time I would speak up and say something and be very vocal. I just don't understand it. I don't like it, and I never will understand it. There's no need for people to be mean, and there's no need for people to be bullies. And yes, I understand that everyone has a hard day, and I'm not a Pollyanna, and I don't live like this life that, oh, everything's so terrific. You know, sometimes life just stinks. You know, sometimes things happen, but there's no reason to be mean to other people or be a bully. Bottom line. Okay. Now, number 25, the last little statement, and it's sort of silly, but it really makes sense if you think about it. I love watching the Real Housewives series on Bravo TV here in the States. I love watching them, and I don't mind the different series like New York or the OC, Orange County in California, where they fight and the drama. It doesn't bother me. I actually kind of get into it. It's a guilty pleasure, I guess that's what you call it. But I don't like the Real Housewives of New Jersey anymore. I can't even watch it. It sickens my stomach because we have families fighting with each other. And when I see families fighting with each other so terribly, I just don't like it. It saddens me. To me, I feel like, yeah, it's a TV show. Maybe even it's made up. Who knows? But to me, it's a family. Families are so precious. And I'm not saying that every member of my family get along, but we don't have screaming fights. We don't try to destroy each other. So, oddly enough, that is a fact about me. I cannot watch anymore. And I was really disappointed when this whole drama with the show started, because I really liked the show initially. But when you start dealing with families fighting, it really just bothers me. I don't like it on TV. I don't like it in real life. Families are precious. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so those are the 25 things you probably don't know about me. And I don't think you knew about that about me. If you did, great. I don't know how you did for my channel, but that's wonderful. So I will tag a few people down below. I haven't decided yet. And like I said, if I haven't tagged you, you're welcome to do it. And we'll just start this tag going. And I want to thank Juicy Tuesday for starting this tag. I think it was a great idea. It takes a little time and you have to think a lot. But sometimes those tags are a lot more fun than like makeup tags that I adore. Nobody get mad at me, but I like the ones that make you think and make you kind of analyze yourself. So I hope you enjoyed that, and take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.